Pixel 7 series phones have been out for about almost 6 months now. And I think by and large, it's been a very successful product. Pretty much everybody was saying how amazing it was for the first couple of months it came out. Ran into a couple of hiccups after the beginning of the year. But overall, I think it stayed pretty well on track. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about that we can improve for the next go around. Like, nothing is perfect, right? Well, when it comes to the Pixel 7 series phones, there are several things that are not perfect. So, first being the biometrics. They've gotten better than the Pixel 6. Like, we do have facial recognition now. Not the greatest in low light situations. It doesn't work when you want to use it with Google Pay, and you have to rely a lot on the fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner, of course, yes, is better. It could still improve some. Now, I don't have a whole lot of issues with it, but I still get people complaining about it a lot, and some people even complaining after different updates about having inconsistencies and things like that. So, that right there, again, I think that it's good, but it could be better. So, go ahead and check that one out of the box, Google. When it comes to the Pixel 8 series phones, that's what we'd like to see improved. The second thing, consistency. The software consistency, it gets kind of frustrating. And it seems like I have to talk about this on a monthly basis because even right now, we've got the March updates been rolling out. Folks who have Verizon, have Visible, who have other different MVNOs that use the Verizon network, have still not, some of them, gotten the update. Now, by and large, most people have gotten it with the March update, but this was an issue previously. Remember when T-Mobile people weren't getting it and Verizon people weren't getting it? It's just, there's a lot of inconsistency with it trickling down and getting to the end user, or it being on time, and that was another issue. So this month, it was okay. It was a week late past when they traditionally put it out. Of course, it did come out during the month, so they get credit for that, but it wasn't on their usual time frame. And then it wasn't there for Pixel 6 users. Pixel 6 users had to wait a whole nother week after that to get the update. So, yeah, I know that some of this stuff comes down to hardware because there are different modems, there are different chipsets, there's lots of different stuff. They're basically supporting for several generations, all the way back right now to the Pixel 4a, all the way up to the Pixel 7. So, as they get online and all of their phones use the same Tensor chipset, or at least the Tensor generational hardware, then I think it will continue to improve, but it's still a little bit too fragmented, and I think the consistencies there really don't paint a good picture, especially when Samsung is running laps around them, making sure that they're getting their updates out on time, they're pushing them out to a larger number of phones. It's just one of those things where, okay, Google, people look to Google for, being the best. I mean, Google is one of the best companies out there. They're supposed to be one of the most secure. They're supposed to be one of the most efficient. And they can't even lead from the front with their own operating system that they're handing out to other manufacturers to use who are doing it better than they are. So, that's another thing I'd like to see improved. Third thing, the modem. Yes, the modem is better. And here's maybe if we learn something, especially after this last problem that we had that was most largely due to the modem itself. With the security vulnerabilities, those were patched with the March update for the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 7. But it would be nice if they could, I know they've made their bed with Google, like Google has with Samsung for the time being, but if there's another way that they can get a better modem and that they can, I don't know, I wish that they had a customized version of a Qualcomm chipset. I feel like half of these issues could be better addressed if they had some sort of customized Qualcomm Snapdragon variant, which I don't even know if they do that, but they've got Samsung to do it. They got them to use their Exynos plant, and no, it's not an Exynos chipset, but it is an Exynos modem, and there's an Exynos DNA throughout the hardware. So, I mean, let's face it, I made a video previously saying that the Pixel 7 was the best Google phone you could buy because it's made it like 51% Samsung components. So if that doesn't tell you anything, look, yes, it is customized. Yes, it is fine-tuned to their needs. Yes, there is different things that go on behind the scenes. It's not the same as a traditional Exynos chipset, but when you're using the Exynos modem and you're using other Exynos DNA, like, you're going to be liable for those things. And of course, Samsung is not the best in the business when it comes to those areas. So I know that the Tensor G3 is going to be based off of a Samsung chip, but at least it's dropping down using the 4 nanometer architecture, and it should be better. Like, as things get newer, it's always better. They used an older modem, especially with the Pixel 6, that just was not very good, And I think people have gone through, they've done testing on the modem for the Tensor G2. Still, yes, it is better than the Tensor G1, but not quite on the same level. We look at the other Snapdragon components, other Android manufacturers. So yes, the modem, please, I hope that it's better for the Pixel 8 series phones. And by and large, I think most people are pretty good with the one that's right now. I haven't really had any issues myself, but I know some people have. So just fine-tuning it up, make it a little bit better. And that ties into the fourth thing, which is the chip. The Tensor G3, I think, really needs to step up to the table. The Tensor G1, kind of underwhelming for most people, had a lot of heat issues, had a lot of reliability issues, had a lot of just weird inconsistencies people are having across the board with their phones. We got to the Tensor G2, they tightened it up a little bit, it got better, they kept the same architecture, same 5nm process, but they changed things around a little bit and made it better. And I was glad they did that. It's not always the best thing to bump up to a new architecture, new form factor every time you go around and do things. So there are some things that they did better. They got a new modem that they attached to it. They did some refinements. So I'm hoping they continue to do that. The next one, the Tensor G3, will be based off the 4nm architecture. So there are going to be some changes there. And of course, there should be a new modem and all that great stuff. So, tying this all together, if you look at what's going on in the Snapdragon world, they're just doing great things right now. You take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 series, the OnePlus 11 series, other phones that have the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. It's been living up to the hype. It's done a great job, power, performance, and heat, and battery. Those are the big things, and I actually read this article the other day, actually, it's like yesterday because it's past midnight when I'm recording now, saying that the Pixel 7 Pro doesn't hold up to the competition. And most of the areas they said were power, performance, and battery. All that, why? Because of the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. And you couldn't say that about the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1, which of course is what it was competing with at the beginning of the year, but it's designed to last for a long time. We're talking 3 years operating system updates, 5 years security patches. This phone, the Pixel 7 Pro, Pixel 7, should foreseeably be good for 5 years. Going into the Pixel 8, yes, we do need to have better thermals. We need to have better battery life. We need to have better heat management. And that's something that's been a problem that's been noted when it comes to the Tensor G1 and the G2 is heat-related stuff. Of course, it's probably based off of the history that Samsung has with their Exynos chipset, which always runs hotter than the Qualcomm variants. So hopefully they got things lined out and they're going to be better, and that's something that really needs to be improved when it comes to the Tensor G3 that's going to be in the Pixel 8 series phones. Now, looping back around, talking about the Pixel 7, the 7 Pro, fantastic phones, especially look at the price points now. They've had tremendous sales opportunities. I mean, you could even get last week, they had the Pixel 7 like sub $400. You could get it for, what was it, $399? So that was great. It's not that price anymore. I think right now you can still get it for $499 unlocked on Best Buy, which is a good price, $100 less than usual. But if you take a look around, there's been sales. And that's one thing that Google has done aggressively. They've stayed on top of it. They keep bringing them back in every couple of weeks. And I think it's making them more competitive. And the Pixel 7 and 6 series have sold more phones than all the previous Pixel phones to date. And I wish that Google at some point would get out and break down the numbers and say, look, this is what we've sold. And I know even if they say 1 million, even if they say 2 million, it pales in comparison to what Samsung and what a lot of other manufacturers are doing. But for them, it's really good. And it shows that they picked up market share. It shows that there's more market confidence. It shows that people are adopting them in larger and faster numbers. Because they have had that. They've had growth in their market share as well. So I think they're doing a lot of good things. They're in a good place right now. I mean, yes, thankfully Google has a lot of money. They're a very patient brand, and they can work through some of this stuff. Well, I say patient brand. They actually kill stuff off quite frequently. It's kind of a joke between them and Microsoft who kills off projects faster. But I believe they're in it to win it with the Pixel brand. They seem very dedicated. I mean, heck, they're going on their third chipset with Samsung and their Tensor G3. So maybe at one point in time, I think the best way for them to go in the future, I hope this is a stopgap. I'd like to see maybe by the time we get to the Pixel 10, maybe they come out and say, look, we've designed our own chip from the ground up with our own process, with our own stuff. I mean, Google's always been a software company, but they could be a hardware company, and I think they could probably do a pretty good job. So that's all I got in this video. Those are really the things I want to talk about where I think they could tighten up, square things up, and get better. And I think we will see that. We saw some of those improvements coming from the Pixel 6 to the Pixel 7. I think we'll see those improvements from the Pixel 7 to the Pixel 8. But those are the things that I think that we need to see to continue to be competitive and to really show up against the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 and what Samsung and other brands are bringing to the table in 2023. But that's what I think. You tell me what you think in the comments. I'd love to have some discussion on it. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.